The news yesterday that seems to have got me into a bit of trouble with comments is from the British Transport Police was clear. Tommy Robinson will not face charges over the alleged assault at St Pancras Station last month. The reason was also stark and simple. The complainant, the man said to have been assaulted, doesn't wish to provide a statement. In English law, that absence is usually fatal to the prosecution. Without a statement, the Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS, cannot clear the first hurdle of the evidential test. No matter what CCTV shows or what witnesses might think they saw, a prosecution rarely succeeds if the complainant will not cooperate. This is not an acquittal. Robinson has not been tried and found innocent, so he's not technically exonerated, whatever the tribal loyalty demands. Nor is it a conviction, as he's technically innocent until proven guilty. He stands, as the law requires, therefore presumed innocent. What it is, quite precisely, is a case that cannot proceed because the legal machinery has no fuel. Now, people can and will infer what they like. Some will claim this proves Robinson was blameless. Others will insist that it's another example of him escaping justice. Both positions are wrong. The legal fact is only this: without a complainant, there's no realistic prospect of conviction. Now, you may ask whether there's any reason why Robinson himself has not made a complaint if he alleges that the complainant made the first move against him and that he threw a punch in self-defense. Supporters of Robinson will spin it as vindication. Opponents will interpret it as proof of intimidation or blame. Neither interpretation alters the reality. The law requires evidence, and without it there is no trial. And this is not unique. There's a history of prosecutions collapsing when victims or complainants step back. All you have to do is go back to, for example, Caroline Flack. Her boyfriend refused to press charges. The CPS pressed on regardless, but the weakness of the complainant's position hung over the case. And Flack, under pressure, interrogated by the police, perhaps unfairly, took her own life. A tragedy and a reminder that the absence or the presence of a statement doesn't necessarily reflect the truth of what happened, only the willingness to have it tested in court. Harvey Weinstein in the UK. Several allegations never reached court because women withdrew or declined to testify. Again, the absence of a statement closed the door, regardless of how strong or how damning the wider context might appear, or what we might infer from the reason, from the fact that complainants withdrew from the legal process. In everyday law, domestic violence prosecutions, pub fights, street altercations, when the alleged victim refuses to support the case, it collapses. Judges, prosecutors, and police know this pattern all too well. At St Pancras, there's plenty of CCTV, but, as always, no audio. The silent image is powerful, but without sound, it can be ambiguous. A shove, a lunge, a raised arm, is it aggressive or self-defense? And the law demands context. And even when it comes to self-defense, that is a quagmire because it's predicated on principles of proportionality. And without the complainant's words, the context is missing, the proportion is gone. There's another troubling feature here. The altercation unfolded in a major London transport hub, a major London travel centre, a place that should have been, or that should be, patrolled, secure, capable of intervention. Yet it seems in that crucial moment there's no police or security presence to prevent an ugly confrontation escalating. It doesn't matter whether this is something that could have been appealed to by Robinson or by the alleged complainant. That's a failure that's bigger than Robinson, bigger than the complainant, bigger even than the law, and we ought to ask why public safety is left to chance in places where it matters most. And this lack of security is not limited to train stations. Alex Belfield, a person whose name, this isn't someone whose name I often cite with approval, has revealed yesterday, I think, deaths inside HMP Foss Way. That's the prison where he himself was held. And he's included a reported murder, the second murder that he talks about. In his account, violence flourishes in the absence of adequate staff, order and oversight. And whether one trusts Belfield or not, the point resonates. Without authority visibly present, people take matters into their own hands, and the results are often grim. Our prisons, like our stations, are becoming places where the state's absence is more keenly felt than its presence. So let's be clear. The Robinson case is not proof of guilt nor proof of innocence. It's proof of how the law operates, and without a complainant's statement, there is no prosecution. That's just how justice is structured. But it's also a lesson of how the absence of authority in courts, in stations, in prisons, in stations, leaves gaps into which violence seeps. As for me, I will continue to praise what deserves praise and condemn what deserves condemnation. Robinson is neither cleared nor convicted. The law has simply shrugged and moved on. But the rest of us should not be so complacent about the failures of security, safety and authority that these cases so evidently reveal.